AI native is when AI becomes part of how you think, not just a tool you occasionally use. And what's keeping people AI adjacent instead of AI native are 4 mental traps I constantly see. And the first one is costing you months of growth and a ton of anxiety and stress. It's called the too late trap. You think you've missed the window because your LinkedIn and Twitter is flooded with AI content and everyone seems like an expert. But here's a reality check and proof why you are not late. Apple, one of the world's most valuable companies, still hasn't gotten into AI in a real way. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through all 4 traps that are keeping people from becoming AI native and give you a 30-day roadmap to escape them. By the end of this video, you'll have actionable steps and confidence on how to become AI native in the next 30 days. So the first trap, the too late trap. I know what you're thinking, Austin, I see AI stuff everywhere. My LinkedIn is full of AI posts. There are a million tools. Everyone's already an expert. I'm late to the party. Listen, I get it, but every time new technology emerges, people overestimate how quickly it gets adopted, but underestimate the overall impact it has. It's literally like clockwork. In 2017, when Bitcoin hit 20,000, I said, I missed it, I'm too late. Then over the next 2 years, I went back and forth, and by 2019, I said, fuck it, I'm not late. I don't care if everyone is talking about it, I'm going all in. That decision helped me go from being too late to a COO of a startup that raised $18.9 million. I'm seeing the same pattern happening right now with AI about people thinking they're too late. You are not late, you're just in an information bubble that makes you feel late, but we're still in the early adopters phase. So you're not late, you're early. And what's the benefit? Well, it creates an impact arbitrage opportunity. Essentially, the fewer people that are AI native, the more you stand out amongst your peers. But knowing you should embrace AI and actually doing it are very different. And if you're watching this, you know you need to embrace it, but how do you actually get started? This is where forcing functions come in. In engineering, forcing functions are constraints that make certain behaviors inevitable. The principle is pretty simple. Remove friction for good behaviors and add friction to bad ones. Examples of this is if you want to drink more water, keep a bottle on the desk. If you want to exercise, lay out workout clothes the night before. So to become AI native, you need to make using AI the easiest option and set yourself up to learn quickly. So that's why the first 7 days of your 30-day action plan is all about positioning yourself to succeed easily and often. Day 1, install ChatGPT Search as your browser plugin or use an AI native browser like Perplexity. Both of these are game changers because it intertwines AI with a tool you use every day, no matter what. So now every search goes to AI instead of Google, and you'll use it 20 plus times daily without even thinking it, just by typing into the search bar. This significantly removes the friction to start using AI tools. Day 2 is you need to start using AI to write your prompts. Go into your AI tool of choice, let's say ChatGPT, and create an optimized prompt for your specific task. That's literally it. It'll give you a prompt that you can then copy and paste and use for your specific task. And another benefit of this is you'll actually see what an optimized prompt looks like so you can learn and improve over time. Day 3 is simple yet effective. Take a sticky note, put it next to your computer that says, can I use AI for this? This sounds simple, but it keeps AI top of mind. Every task you'll see that note. Over time, the question becomes automatic. And day 4 to 7, use AI for everything. And this means things that you probably don't need it for. We're overcorrecting these first 7 days so you can start learning quickly. Here are some things that I started using AI for that I initially didn't even think of. I'll use it to clean up data in spreadsheets and remove duplicates. I'll have it act as my real estate agent to search Zillow for specific criteria and sharing me what I want to look at. I'll have it send me recipes for things that I have in my fridge. And I'll even have it help me find discount codes while I'm online shopping. Absolute game changer, that one. Highly recommend it. The more you use it, the more you'll actually discover what's possible and it'll become second nature. And by day 7, you've escaped the too late trap. AI is now a reflex and it's not an afterthought. But all this is only valuable if you know how to escape the next trap. Trap number 2 is the magic wand trap. Here's what happens. Someone asks ChatGPT, write me a proposal for a client, and they get a generic garbage response. They immediately conclude AI doesn't work for this task, and they go back to a manual process. And this is where most people quit. And the problem is that they're using AI like a magic wand instead of a power tool. They want to wave it and get perfection immediately, but that's just not how AI works. It's only as good as the user. And this is the key difference between what I call a task executor and an AI model manager. A task executor expects magic. An AI model manager knows they need to train their AI like employees. Jensen Huang, NVIDIA's CEO, said it best. The IT department of every company is going to be an HR department of AI agents in the future. Said differently, that people will be managing AI. And the best managers excel at two things. They're good at training employees with high quality context, and they're good at breaking down tasks into things that are very achievable. That's managing humans, but it's the same thing when you're managing AI tools. Let me break down these two aspects. So the first is about training, and in the AI world, that's context engineering. Great managers know to train employees on how the company thinks, what good looks like, and why certain approaches work. With AI, this is context engineering. You're bringing in specific information as reference data to help AI provide better answers. When thinking about what information to provide to help get better responses from AI, I think about it in two categories. First is your best work. This is everything you've done that represents this is what good looks like for me. This is reports, emails, proposals. Gather your best examples of the output you're trying to produce. And this can also include non-digital information that is specific to how you or your organization completes a task. So that's what you've done. And then the next thing is your North Star. These are examples that are better than your current work. Maybe it's a colleague's report that always impresses people. Maybe it's a competitor's proposal that just hits different. This is information that informs AI how to guide and produce a final result. Your best work improves the efficiency, and your North Star improves the quality. This is about training your AI employee. It's not a magic wand. You have to train it to give you the response you want. Now, the second thing that great managers do is they set up employees for success by creating tasks that are achievable. To do this, use the Henry Ford assembly line method. Ford didn't build cars all at once. He broke manufacturing into individual tasks and perfected each one at a time. Do the same with AI. Step one, break it down. A weekly report isn't one task. It's data gathering, analysis, formatting, distribution. That's 4 separate tasks. Step 2 is start small. Optimize the first component only. Master it before moving on. Step 3 is have a human in the loop. That's someone who reviews the outputs, refines the prompts using their domain expertise, and you know what good or bad looks like in your field. Step 4 is compound. Document what works, and then that's your starting point the next time. Each iteration you'll get better. So you know that AI isn't magic, and a lot like managing real people, you have to position AI to succeed. So here's your action plan for days 8 to 14. Day 8 is practice the assembly line method on a real task. Pick something you do weekly, break it into 3 to 5 components, and pick the task that's the easiest for AI to complete. Day 9 to 10 is build your reference data library. Based on the tasks that you identify in day 8, gather reference data that will enhance your output. Another step you could take is find product people that you love and bring in their opinions to help drive product decisions. So imagine Joe Rogan was a product doc expert. You could pull in all of his transcripts from his podcast, bring it in, and then that could be reference data to inform your decisions. You're creating context to get you better responses. So that's the information, but now what do you do with it? So days 11 to 12 is all about creating your first optimized work environment. Go to ChatGPT projects or Claude projects and create a unique project for a specific task. In the product manager example, you can have write product docs as the project, bring in all that information I previously mentioned, and that creates a contained environment for you to prompt in. Another example of somebody I helped last week, who's a social media manager, we created 2 different projects. We created a content ideation project and a content script writing project. In the content ideation one, he brought in his company's brand guidelines and his target persona. Then he added a list of ideas that performed well, plus content ideas he liked from other creators. For the script writing project, we brought in ideal final scripts as the output reference. Now, when you're setting these up, there's something called a system prompt, and this provides AI context every time you run it. Just like how in day 2, we used AI to help us write the prompts that we're going to use, you can also use AI to help you write the system prompts. To use AI for this, you can say, write me an optimized system prompt for a project with these goals. You'll quickly notice that this will drastically improve the outputs that you're getting. No more starting from scratch every single conversation. Next, days 13 to 14, you want to run water through the process and optimize it. A saying I have is the best way to find a leak is to run water through a hose. And that's the same with processes. You won't get it right the first time. Remember, AI isn't a magic wand. You understand it won't be perfect, but over time, it will get much better. The pro tip here is as you go back and forth with AI and you get a high quality final answer, say in the chat, update the initial prompt I used so the final output we landed voted on would be the initial response. This will help you improve and iterate over time so that initial prompt is that much better. By day 14, you've escaped the magic wand trap. You understand that great AI outputs come from great context. You're training AI like an employee, which is exactly what someone who's AI native does. But there's a trap that wastes more time than any other that you need to avoid. By the way, a lot of the content that I'm sharing in this video, I cover inside my free 5-day email course that you can get by clicking the first link in the description. I dive a lot deeper on similar topics, and the things that I cover there will help you be irreplaceable with AI. If you're enjoying this video, I highly recommend you click that link and sign up for that. Again, it's 100% free. First link in the description. Go check that out. All right, let's get to trap number 3. Trap 3 is the automation obsession trap. You're trying to automate things that should never be automated, and it's wasting weeks of your time. Each week, I meet with subscribers to help them use AI so that I can learn about their problems. And one thing is clear. There's a gap between what problems people think they need to solve and what they actually need to solve. Here's an example. I was helping someone, call him Adam, create business proposals for prospects. It takes up a ton of his time, and so he wanted to automate the entire process. But it turned out that Adam would never send a proposal without reviewing it first. So we were trying to automate a process that should never be automated. It should just be augmented. There's a massive difference between these two things. And if you get it wrong, you'll waste weeks building something that either doesn't work or actively makes things worse. So the distinction here is that augmenting, this is using AI to help streamline and improve the process. You're still in the work, you're kind of using it like an assistant or an expert consultant. Automating, this is using AI to do everything end to end with no human involvement. Someone who's AI native knows the difference and knows when to automate and when to augment. Here's a mental framework that I run through. Can a task be broken down? If yes, break it down and then evaluate each one individually. Is this task the sauce? If yes, you won't automate it entirely. That's your value, that's your sauce. So for example, if you're a social media manager, never try to automate content creation. Your taste and your judgment is quite literally the job. But if you can use AI to augment it, that's where it becomes valuable. Is the cost of error high? If yes, augment only. Keep yourself in the loop. If the cost of error is low and it's a repetitive task, now you're in the realm of possibility for automation. And once you think you're there, there's still a checklist you have to do before you actually automate, and I'll dive into that in a bit. But let's first use the framework on Adam, the subscriber I was working with who thought he wanted to automate the proposal generation process. The first question, can it be broken down? Yes, actually into 6 steps. So let's dive into each of these 6 steps and see which one we may want to automate. First is walk to the site to take pictures and gather data. That's part of the sauce, that's customer relations. There's no automating there. 2, run calculations based on those numbers. You can just use Excel for this so it's more consistent and quicker. 3, write the initial draft. Could be augmentation. 4, revise the draft and apply branding. Could be augmentation. 5, final review. This is the sauce. They've already said that they need to review it before sending it. 6, send to the customer. This is a high cost of error. Just do it manually. So when you look at it, there's really only steps 3 and 4 that are the only ones where AI even makes sense to use. So the question no longer is, I want to automate the proposal generation process. It's, I need to augment the drafting process, which is a much easier problem to solve. And the key insight here is that you're breaking this big problem into bite-sized problems, which will drastically improve your chances of using AI to make real improvements. And I need to hammer home one point before we get into automating details. There is a high cost of error if you try and automate something that shouldn't be automated. Back in the 1980s, GM actually made a massive $45 billion mistake because of this. They tried to automate a factory process they didn't fully understand, and this led to robots completing tasks that they shouldn't have done or just made no sense, like welding car doors shut. This actually happened, and it's happening almost in every business who are just trying to use AI to automate everything. So when you think you need to automate it, before you do that, run it through this checklist, and this is the "Is it time to automate" checklist. Is the process entirely documented? Could you hand this to a 14-year-old and they produce something as good as you? Have you tried removing steps entirely from the process? Have you already augmented this extensively? Once you clear through that checklist, then consider automating it with workflows or AI agents. You now understand that automation isn't always needed, even though that's something that every social media guru is just preaching. Automate, automate, automate. No, there's a time and place for it. Okay, but how do you actually take this and apply it in practice? Here's your plan for days 15 to 21. Day 15, audit your recurring tasks. Write down everything you do repeatedly. Reports, emails, research proposals, be specific. Day 16 to 17, run each task through the frameworks I mentioned. Break it down. Identify what's the sauce. Flag high cost of error steps. I guarantee 90% of what you think needs automation actually needs augmentation. Days 18 and 19, build out an augmentation system. We covered this in days 11 to 14, so at this point you know how to best augment tasks by creating these Claude or ChatGPT projects and contained environments with high quality reference data. And then days 20 to 21, you can try your first simple automation. After you've augmented a task and you've ran it through the "is it time to automate" checklist, it's time to build out an automation. For whatever you want to build, make sure that it isn't a science project. And what I mean is, it needs to be something that you will actually use versus something cool you just saw on Twitter. Because you're actually going to use it, you're going to go deeper into the automation and build something that's actually valuable, which will help you learn quicker. By day 21, you've escaped the automation obsession trap. You know the difference between augmenting and automating. You're starting to think like an AI model manager who deploys resources strategically. And before we get into the final trap, believe it or not, the automation trap is something I find almost every professional falls into, even business owners. And business owners often are just too busy to even think about augmenting or automating processes because they're just too busy working on their business and their day-to-day. If you're a business owner and you feel trapped in your day-to-day operations, click the second link in the description. We'll do a free audit and you'll get immediate wins that you can implement today. Now for the fourth and final trap, this is one that caps everyone's potential. Trap 4 is the limited vision trap, and this one costs people the most. Most people just aren't aware of the fact that AI has removed the barriers to doing things you never thought were possible. Here's what's actually happening right now. When smartphones came out, people thought they were just better phones, better cameras, better screens. They missed that smartphones were a platform for entirely new businesses like Uber that couldn't exist before. AI follows the same pattern. It's not just making you faster at your current job, it's removing the friction from entire industries. Here's some real examples. The first is you can now build software without being an engineer. Tools like Cursor, Replit, Claude Code, and Lovable let you describe what you want in plain English and they build it. On my channel, I built an app from scratch in 4 hours. You can check that out, but it's a process that anybody can do. And previously, that would require an engineering team, a designer, weeks of work, and tens of thousands of dollars. Now it's literally an afternoon. It's unlocking this new possibility. The second is you can now become a product designer without design school. Tools like Nano Banana let you create professional visual designs by just describing what you want. No Figma expertise needed, no Photoshop, no years of learning color theory or topography. I don't even know what that means because I don't need to know what that means anymore. And the third is that you can now get expert level advice in any field instantly. Need a landing page audit? You can just say you're an expert consultant at optimizing conversion funnels and identify the top 5 improvements. Expert feedback in seconds in any industry that you want. This is the opportunity that most people are missing. And what's happening is that generalists are becoming more valuable than specialists. For 200 years, the path to succeed was simple. You pick one thing, you go deep, and you become an expert. This is what was called the knowledge economy. But we're moving to what I call the allocation economy. And this is where the people who win are the ones who have foundational understandings across multiple domains and can direct AI to handle the deep expertise. Think about it. If AI can code, design, write, analyze data, and provide expert advice in almost any field, what's the most valuable skill? It's knowing what to build and why it matters. That requires breadth, not just depth. The specialist who only knows one domain is limited to that one domain. And this is why intellectual curiosity across multiple domains is now a competitive advantage. Every new skill you explore, every domain you learn the basics of, that's another area where you can direct AI to execute and provide value in whatever organization or business you're operating in. And once you get that base level domain experience, you're going to start seeing opportunities to provide value in your day-to-day that never even crossed your mind. Let's walk through what days 22 and 30 look like so that you can avoid this trap. Days 22 to 25, experiment with a new domain. Pick something you've always thought, I can't do that, and just do it. Want to build an app? Open Lovable or Replit and describe what you want. If you want to create designs, just go to Gemini, use Nano Banana, and describe a poster, a logo concept, a social graphic, anything you want it to create. You want to do data analytics? Upload a spreadsheet to Claude and ask it to find patterns. The goal isn't to become an expert, it's to prove to yourself that the barrier is gone. Days 26 to 30 is about applying these new skills to your day-to-day. This is a 0 to 1 effect. When you're able to go from having no skills in a specific industry to having a basic skill set, say level 1, you now see all the new opportunities that you never thought to look for. By day 30, you'll be an AI native. It'll be woven into everything you do. You'll think differently, you'll work differently, and you won't just feel irreplaceable. You'll have proof that you can go 0 to 1 in areas you never thought were possible. So trap number 1, the too late trap. This makes you think that you missed the window, but that's just not the case. Use forcing functions and understand the importance of the impact arbitrage opportunity and the chance that you have. Trap number 2 is you think that AI is a magic wand. You expect perfection on attempt number 1, and that just discourages you from using it. But with proper context engineering and the assembly line method, you create results that feel unfair. Trap number 3 is the automation obsession trap, which has people trying to automate everything and thinking about problems entirely incorrectly. You're learning when to augment versus automate, and it'll save thousands of hours. Trap number 4 is the limited vision trap, and this is the one that I'm the most passionate about. It keeps you thinking small. Once you're able to realize that you don't have to think small anymore and you can do anything because of AI, a world of opportunities will present itself. Remember, you're not behind, not yet. And if you got this far, you're ahead of 99% of people. Now, if you like this video, you'll love this one where I break down the top 9 professional use cases for Google's AI, Gemini. If you like the content in this video, you are going to love that one. I'll see you in the next one. Let's get it.